Can I tell you something? It may be difficult to hear, but when I watch a Zoom audition, or I look at a self-tape submission, or even a live callback audition, I can tell in seconds if the actor is going to make an impact. Even though the actor may have excellent training or tons of experience, there are certain indicators that can take me away from watching you make truthful moments. Keeping it conversational is the subject of today's podcast. And I know that if you stick with me, you will dramatically enhance your audition responses. This is Casting Actors Cast.
It's time for another episode of Casting Actors Cast, insights for actors from a casting director. Each week, we show you how to advance your talent and your career with practical tips, advice, and positivity. Here he is, your host, Jeffrey Dreisbach.
Well, hello, and welcome to today's episode of Casting Actors Cast. I'm casting partner Jeffrey Dreisbach with the McCorkle Group in New York. I hope you're having a good day. I'm having a good day, and welcome to this episode. Keeping it conversational, or keep it conversational, is the subject of today's podcast, and I'm really looking forward to getting into this subject matter. But first, this is that moment of the conversation where we are just thanking you for tuning into this podcast. It's just been an amazing journey during the month of April. It looks like we're getting close to 100,000 downloads of the podcast, and I couldn't be more excited. Also, just want to share with you on May 25th, 2023, at Pearl Studios, that's 500 8th Avenue, New York, from 6:30 to 7:30, 1 hour. At Pearl Studios, I will be doing a live recording of the podcast, Casting Actors Cast, and this is now open to you. If you're interested in coming and checking out the podios, the podcast videos, watching them being recorded in a live studio audience at Pearl Studios, this, would be, I think, the coolest thing ever. Only because I've never done it before. This is going to be a brand new experience. But this is all from my good friends at Actors Connection, who've thought about, wouldn't it be a great idea if we announce our association with Pearl Studios? That's Actors Connection saying that. They're now going to start doing their classes live. Not all of them, but many of them they're going to start doing live, sort of a hybrid version. And I was invited to think about being able to do a live broadcast of the podcast. So I said yes, and that's happening on May 25th, 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. So even if you're working during the day and you want to come on in and check out the live broadcast, it would be great to have you there. As I get more information, I'm going to be excited to share it with you on these podcasts. Also, my shout out to Actors Connection. I would simply suggest you go to actorsconnection.com/New York, where you can see their offerings. Like I said, some of the work is going to be done in person at Pearl Studios, but also there's still, if you're listening in another part of the country, their classes, their seminars, their workshops with professionals in the industry are outstanding. I can't think of a better way for you to get information from people who are working in the industry. And Actors Connection has been doing it for a long time. And I'm excited that I'm also invited to participate in teaching some classes there as well. And so it would be great to have you in those. So that's actorsconnection.com/New York. Finally, if you would consider, if you've listened to the subject matter in today's podcast and you went, wow, you know what? That was really good. That was really helpful. I could really use some reviews on iTunes. If you liked the work, I would love for you to give me a thumbs up or a like, or please share the podios, the podcast videos, because we are being simulcast on YouTube. Also, I want you to check out the website, Casting Actors Cast, alloneword.com. There you're going to find some freebies if you fill out that form that says dive into the talent pool. It just gives me your name and email address. I don't abuse that whatsoever. I might on occasion send out a promotional piece about an upcoming podcast, but I don't spam you or abuse that. But listen, if you do fill out that little form, you can ask me a question, you can send me a note. The cool thing is that opens up some freebies for you, a book on doing voiceover work, as well as a video that's called Casting Secrets, What They Don't Tell You. And so you can have some of these freebies, and that's why I want you to check out the website, if you would, castingactorscast.com. Finally, there's Jeff's Jots, which are corresponding blog and show notes for each of the episodes. So if you hear some information or you've got some material and maybe I talk too fast, because I love having more caffeine than God ever intended a human being have, and that would be me. Did you like what I did just there? Yeah, that wasn't that fast either. The reality is that you can have some show notes. You can have information that I use to promote the shows that I use to as my little cheat sheet when I'm doing these podcasts. They're absolutely free for you to check out. Just a way of hopefully getting you some additional information. Woo! Wow, that was a lot, right? Anyway, spring is here, right? And it's been exciting, and I'm really looking forward to sharing with you, really based on the auditions I've been watching recently, not only from colleges and universities that have invited me to look at their students in the forms of showcases or workshops, things like that, and I've seen quite a few. And I just want to share a little bit about things that I'm seeing happening when actors are auditioning or doing their monologues or in a workshop environment, they're doing their scene work. And I think that there's a commonality, frankly, that I see actors doing. Even after I give a note or after I give an adjustment, the actor doesn't seem to be able to incorporate that adjustment as fully or as completely as I would like them to. And so we're going to talk about that right now. I think that there is a first impression psychology when actors are doing their audition. Whether they're doing it live as a self-tape on Zoom, it doesn't matter. But that first impression really comes down to three, what I consider primal areas of importance for the actor to show as far as making a good first impression. One is confidence. And that confidence really is the actor's subtext, the actor saying to themselves, you know what, I can't wait to show you how I am going to show you how to play the part. I can't wait to show you how I am going to play this part. So that's what is a really great driving, centering, confidence building subtext for the actor. Please think about an opportunity to act. And that's what an audition really is. And if you are an actor, you love acting. And if you love acting, then you have an opportunity to act, and therefore you excited to show me how you're going to play the part is a level of confidence that I love to see actors when they bring that into their work. Now, I'm not saying it has to be cocky. It doesn't have to be, egoing out here. But it really is that inner sensibility that you bring. And the way that you can find it, if you're really confused by what I'm saying here, it really is about getting in touch with why you want to be an actor in the first place. What do you love about acting? Think about that. It's that thought that promotes an emotion of confidence about your work. And that's what I'm talking about. When you bring that into your work, it becomes an amazing, good first impression. Second is perceptions. How do you want to be perceived by others? And so how you carry yourself, what you're wearing, how you feel about your own work, how you not just exude confidence, but your own sensibilities, your personality, your sense of humor. All of those unique qualities that make you you are really great qualities that can give me the right perception about you playing the part. So confidence followed by perceptions. The third is control. Now, I'm not saying you have to control the room. You have to control the audition. But it's really important that you really make sure you take time to make every audition yours. This is your opportunity to shine. This is your opportunity to show me how you're going to play the part. This is your opportunity to exude that level of confidence and perception that can make a really good impact. So remember that when I'm talking about control, it really is about being centered, being focused, and being ready. The time of every audition is your time. Make it yours. That's what I'm talking about. When you have that kind of presence of mind, it really does put you on the exact right foot you need to be on for any audition you might have. Here are some common notes I've given to actors in classes or in workshops or in Zooms, but not translating into the audition. And I talk about these things in general terms to actors, things that I would like to see taking place, whether it's a monologue or it's a scene or whatever is taking place. And it can also be in any medium. It can be a Zoom audition. It can be a live classroom workshop experience, whatever it is. It can be any of those things. But it's always interesting for me to make the declaration and then see the actor doing exactly not the thing I'm suggesting they need to do. And so here are a couple of those things. Hopefully you'll find this helpful. Hopefully you'll find this kind of giving the right impression and building the confidence that we were just talking about. One is what I call the prior action. What just took place in this scene that prompted your character to start talking in the audition? So you actually bring me into your audition by establishing a moment before you start speaking. What happens when you give me that prior action is I now give you the attention and the focus. That intention that the character has, even before they've started talking, can really project an energy. And also, here's the secret, it puts you in control of the audition. So make sure you don't lose out on establishing a very clean, clear, specific prior action before you start any audition. Number two, you heard this note, and I've given this note many, many times, almost, I would say consistently. This is the note I give to a lot of actors, which is to raise the stakes. Now, listen, I'm sure if you're an actor and you've had some professional training, I'm sure you've had a director or a teacher saying, "Oh, you have to raise the stakes." You just need to establish why is this scene, this moment, this audition has to feel like it has a level of importance. Otherwise, why did the writer write it? So raising the stakes literally means making it more important, making the reason that you are sharing this information more important than it might be otherwise. So, for example, when I'm doing these podcasts, it's not that I say to myself, I have to raise the stakes. But I realize in order to communicate with the right amount of energy and to really make what I hope is a good impression on you with my information, is that I make it sound as if there's a sense of urgency that's taking place. And that's why I share the way that I do. By the way, I'm just kind of like this anyway. But that's what I do in my mind. I express myself in a way that makes it feel more important so that the message that I'm transmitting becomes more clear. Let's move on to another issue that I see happening in a lot of auditions. This is especially true in classroom environments in general, and that is the lack of concentration. I see actors not really being focused on the moment at hand. It's really funny, just this week, a couple of times, I said to the actors that I was working with, I said, it's really important that you concentrate on exactly what you are doing while you're doing it, because a lot of stage-trained actors have been brought up, literally, with a director or a teacher that has said after a scene, "Well, how did that feel for you?" Isn't that funny? If a director or a teacher says, "Well, how did that feel?" the answer should always be, "I have no idea." In other words, you should be so immersed in the moment, in your concentration and your important connections that you are making with another character, that you don't even have an idea about how it's going. You have to trust your training and then concentrate. Be very, very present. Block the rest of the world and your third eye out and just deliver the goods at hand. That's concentration. It's the lack of concentration many times that produces what I consider to be generalized choices, not specific choices. Here's another note, and I say this in almost every class because it's something I think is really useful for a lot of actors, and that is make the scene about the other character. The more you make it about the other character, less about you, then you're watching yourself less. You're not really taking your own temperature while you're acting. When you make it about the other character, in other words, why did they behave that way? Why are they reacting that way? Why did they say what they said? Do they understand what I'm trying to say? That inner dialogue, when you make it about them, will actually keep you from watching yourself, but also, I promise you this is true, makes your acting better. Now, finally, the meat of today's podcast is about being conversational. I use that all the time in terms of classes and in workshops and even in auditions. When I have a note to give an actor, it says, that was really good work. If it was, that was really good work. But you know what? I just want you to be a little more conversational about it. Don't mistake raising the stakes from lack of conversational. Those are completely two different things. Being conversational meaning that you're talking to the person that's right there in front of you. You can still be and make it as important as you need to. But if the person is right there in front of you, that really is the best first way to begin working on any audition. So please think about being conversational. The person that you're having this conversation with, and this, by the way, doesn't matter whether you're doing a theater audition or a film and television audition. It really doesn't. But if you are conversational in your approach, then there is less of a need to make it feel like a performance, because after all, it's not. It's not a performance. It's a conversation. And when you do that, when you allow for it to feel conversational, it allows for new moments or beats to come into the scene or come into the character without the pressure of showing the fully evolved character. You can just simply show the character having moments. That's a throwback all the way to that Acting 101 class where you talked about moment-to-moment work. The fully evolved character is not something I necessarily have to see in an audition. What I need to see are interesting moments done interestingly. Also, when you're able to feel in control, when you're able to be conversational, you actually reshift that nervous energy you might be feeling because it's an audition, from making it an audition to becoming a truthful, real-life event. It makes the environment truthful for the character, and it makes the environment truthful for the actor at the same time. Now, not only can your preparation bear more choices and shift your energy, but the audition itself can instill a level of focus and a level of concentration that oftentimes lacks during an audition. Now, understand that this is not some sort of affectation I'm talking about, but it is a full acceptance of how your character behaves in a circumstance that is simply believable. I hope that this has been helpful for you. If you have any questions, I invite you to send me an email, castingactorscast@gmail.com, and please think about giving me a like, a share, a review if you're so inclined. I appreciate that. And I look forward to seeing you again on the next episode of Casting Actors Cast.
Your support means the world to us, so please consider sharing, liking, and reviewing this episode wherever you jump in. I'm Megan Grace Martinez. Thanks.